Hello everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Am I clearly visible, audible? Kindly those who are live, they can respond. If I'm clearly visible, audible, I will start the session. Give me a minute. Thank you. Thank you for responding. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Ragini. Thank you. So I welcome you all for today's session. I welcome the batch third Prof Buster 1.0 in which we are going to study ophthalmology today. Right. So yesterday also we started ophthalmology. Today we are also going to continue an important topic in ophthalmology. So today I am going to teach you everything regarding accommodation in human eye. Right. First, we will understand what is accommodation and then we will understand various errors or deformities of accommodation. Okay, so let me share my screen with you and start the session. I guess you people can see the screen and we can start. Right? Can you see the screen? Let me check. I guess you can see the screen. Yes. So let's start it. So as I told you, in this batch, third Prof Buster 1.0, we are going to study all four subjects with 100% syllabus coverage in the next 4 months. Today's subject is ophthalmology, really very interesting because I am going to teach you with the help of 3D models, right? So in ophthalmology, today I'm going to teach you the disorders with the help of these 3D models, and we will study errors of accommodation. But before I directly jump on errors of accommodation, in the first 5 minutes, we will revise the errors of refraction. We have already completed errors of refraction. So in the first 5 minutes, we will understand the basics again, we will revise, brush up the concepts again, and then we will quickly move on accommodation followed by errors of accommodation, right? So we have already studied it, errors of refraction. I taught you two terms. We will revise. If you have not even attended, you will understand now. I taught you two terms related to refraction in human eye. Refraction in human eye, I taught you two terms. Emetropia and ametropia. What do you mean by that? What is emetropia? What do you mean by the term E? Emetropia. Emetropia is optically normal eye. The eye is absolutely normal. You can see this eye. Can you see this eye? Human eye is like a sphere. It's like a ball. So when the rays are coming from infinity, I mean the object is far and the rays is coming from the infinity. You can see these rays are coming from the infinity. The God has given such a power in human eye that human eye can converge the rays coming from infinity on a point on the retina. I'm focusing on the word on retina. Can you see this is retina? So it is very important to brush up this concept, people, because we want to study accommodation today. Now, can you see this is retina? So on the retina, we are converging the rays coming from the infinity. So human eye converge the rays coming from the from infinity on the retina, on a point on the retina, and this is normal. The vision is normal, the visual acuity is normal, the clarity of the image is absolutely clear without any effort, and this is known as optically normal eye. It is known as emetropia. Emetropia means when the parallel rays coming from infinity, when the object is far. I'm looking at a star or I'm looking at the sky, the moon. The object is far. My object is moon. My object is star. I'm looking a far object, far. I'm looking at a mountain or a tree, far. I'm not looking at this span. I'm looking far. So the rays are coming from infinity. I will consider the rays are coming from infinity. So my eyes automatically converge it on a point on the retina. This is optically normal eye. You can see on the retina, at the retina. Okay, so this is emetropia. You can see this video and you will realize what I want to say. So you will see when the rays are coming from infinity, and you can appreciate the eye is focusing the rays coming from the infinity automatically at a point on the retina. Okay, so this is emetropia. Now coming on the second term, ametropia. Ametropia is defective eye. I taught you the errors of refraction. I taught you 5 errors of refraction. Yes or no? So errors of refraction. Here, it's a condition of refractive error. It's not a healthy eye. It's a defective eye. There is some problem in the refraction in the eye. That is ametropia. Ametropia. It's defective eye. So here, when the rays come from from infinity, the parallel rays coming from the infinity. Here also they are coming. Here also they are coming. Here also they are coming. So normally when the rays come from infinity, they converge on the retina. But here they are converging either behind the retina or in front of the retina, or on the retina but at different meridians, not at one meridian. So this is all defective. I want you to appreciate on the red point. Here the red point is on the retina. This is normal. But if this point is beyond the retina or in front of the retina or multiple meridians on the retina, these all are abnormalities, and that is ametropia. So here in ametropia, when the parallel rays coming from the infinity, they don't focus on retina. No. They focus either in front of retina or they focus behind the retina. So the image is blur. It's a defect. The image is blur unless until the spectacles or contact lens are applied or surgeries are done. The image is blur and the visual acuity is also reduced. So that is the defective eye, ametropia. I taught you 5 disorders in ametropia that is already done. We are not revising them. I taught you hypermetropia, myopia, astigmatism, anisometropia, and anisoconia. We have already studied. We have already studied hypermetropia under these headings. Watch if you have missed it. So here, the rays coming from infinity, they converge beyond retina. I already taught you myopia. Here, the rays coming from infinity, they converge in front of retina. I already taught you astigmatism. Here, the rays coming from infinity, they converge at multiple meridians on the retina, but at multiple meridians. Okay, then I taught you anisometropia. Here the two eyes, right and left. The image formed on the retina is of different size. The image formed, the refraction is different. The diffraction in the two eyes is different. Okay, that is anisometropia, the right and the left eye. And finally, I taught you lastly, anisoconia. In isoconia, the image formed at the retina may be same or different, but the image which is sent to the visual cortex in the brain, the visual cortex in the brain, that is different. That is different. That is anisoconia. So we have already studied. The 5 disorders: hypermetropia, myopia, astigmatism, anisoconia, and isometropia. We have already completed the 5 disorders of ametropia. Okay, it's already done. I have already taught you its correction. We have seen its treatment also. The 3 form of the treatment: spectacles, contact lens, and surgeries. It's done. I taught you spectacles. If you remember the type of the spectacles, the various types, their size, the type of the lenses, I mean the glass type it is having. I already taught you contact lens under these heading, the contact lens, the various type of contact lens, the structure, you know its types. I'm not going in the detail. I already taught you refractive surgeries. I taught you the 7 type of surgeries. 5 of them cornea based and 2 of them lens based. I have shown you videos also of each and every surgery. So this topic was done. So these surgeries I have already taught you. Now my topic is errors of accommodation. Now I will continue because you know the basics, and we have revised it well. Now you will have a better understanding of accommodation. This portion is pending from that chapter. It was necessary to revise that portion. So can I start? From here I am starting the new portion. So can I start errors of accommodation? Till now we have revised errors of refraction, and now we will start errors of accommodation. Can I start? I cannot teach you errors of accommodation. No, I cannot, because you don't understand errors of accommodation unless and until you understand accommodation. I taught you errors of refraction, but I didn't taught you directly. Na? First I taught you refraction. I taught you the laws of refraction. Then I taught you its errors. So before understanding the disorders of anything, it's very important to understand what does normally it mean. Okay, so first you understand accommodation, then I will teach you the errors of accommodation. So let's start accommodation. Before I start even accommodation, it's necessary to see a little bit regarding the anatomy of the eye. I've skipped this chapter, anatomy of eye. I will take it on some day in detail, but whatever anatomy is applicable, I will teach you that anatomy. And I will compile all and take one session also in the end, don't worry. So anatomy is important here to understand the accommodation. Okay, we divide the human eye into three layers. I will show you in the model also. Outermost layer, middle layer, and inner layer. So human eye is like a ball. The human eye is like a ball. It's a spherical ball. The outermost layer, the middle layer, and the inner layer. I will show you. Okay. So one by one, you can see the three layers over here. If we are looking at the human eye, you can see this is outermost layer, this is middle layer, this is inner layer. You can appreciate the three layer. So one by one we will take. Let's take the outermost layer. The outermost layer is fibrous layer, also known as protective coat. It is known as fibrous layer, known as protective coat. It is having two things, sclera and cornea. Appreciate. So this is complete sclera. This is sclera and this is cornea. The junction of sclera and cornea is known as limbus. I guess this you already know. So this is the outermost layer. It is having a protective function. It's fibrous in nature. Okay, the sclera is white, opaque in color. It gives shape to the eyeball, the spherical shape, and it provides a surface for muscle attachment. The cornea is transparent. So if you see the red color portion I have marked, it is opaque, white color. And the blue color portion I have marked, it's transparent. Okay. So that's sclera and cornea, the outermost layer. So outermost layer is made up of two things, sclera and cornea. Coming on the middle layer. The middle layer is vascular layer, also known as uveal tract. It is having three things. Today, to understand accommodation, I want to teach you accommodation. I am interested in this layer. I want you to understand this layer in detail if you want to understand accommodation. Okay. So middle layer. Middle layer is made up of three things. It's highly vascular. It's pigmented. Okay. It provides nutrition to the eyeball. So it is made up of three things. It is having choroid. Appreciate the middle layer. I'm coming on the middle layer. So first you see outermost layer. In the outermost layer, I taught you we are having two things. We are having sclera. This is sclera. Outermost layer. This is sclera. And this is cornea. Outermost is done. Okay, this is outermost. Just below that, I'm interested in the middle layer. The middle layer is having choroid. This is choroid. This is complete choroid. It is pigmented. This is choroid. Just below the sclera. Just below the blue sclera, I'm drawing the choroid. The continuation of the choroid is ciliary body. Now you please pay attention. The continuation of the choroid is the ciliary body. This is the ciliary body. This is the ciliary body. And the continuation of the ciliary body is iris. The continuation of the ciliary body is the iris. Okay, you can see it's like a spherical curtain. I will show you. And this space is known as pupil. You are understanding it? So this is the middle layer. This is middle layer. Okay, you can appreciate it here. The middle layer very well. I'm not interested in outer layer. I'm interested in middle layer. Appreciate the choroid, the black color choroid. Can you appreciate this is choroid? The continuation of the choroid is ciliary body. Appreciate this is ciliary body. Having ciliary muscle. Ciliary body is having ciliary muscle. Okay, and the continuation of ciliary muscle, you can see this is iris. Appreciate iris. So the three things are in continuation. Okay, so I will draw it. Whether this side, whatever you find comfortable. So I'm drawing the outermost layer. This is sclera. This is cornea. Sclera and cornea. I'm not interested in outer. I'm interested in middle. I want to teach you three things in continuation. What three things in continuation? First of all, choroid, which is pigmented. This is choroid. This layer is choroid. The continuation of the choroid is ciliary body. This is ciliary body. And the continuation of ciliary body is iris. It's like a curtain. So this is the middle layer. And innermost layer will be retina. The innermost layer will be the retina, which contains rods, cones. I will teach you entire retina in separate chapter. Okay, currently I'm interested in the middle layer. Okay, now what is choroid? I told you choroid. It is continuous anteriorly with the ciliary body. It is above it, there is sclera. Below it, there is retina. So it is the middle layer, which is vascular, pigmented. It is the middle layer. Okay, choroid. Ciliary body contains ciliary muscle, and that is important to understand the accommodation today. I will teach you accommodation now. So this ciliary body, appreciate the ciliary body, orange color ciliary body. It is having ciliary muscle. It's going to contract and relax and provide accommodation in the lens. That's why I'm teaching you a little bit anatomy. Okay. So this is ciliary body, and when it contracts, the ciliary rings narrow. I will show you. Okay. And zonules. What do you mean by zonules? Can you see this is lens? Appreciate where is lens in this diagram. Appreciate the lens. This is lens. Can you see? Who is holding the lens? Is the lens is placed as it is in the eye? No, something is holding it. What is holding it? What thing is holding the lens? Huh? So these threads, the thread-like structure, which are coming from the ciliary body. Appreciate the ciliary body, the orange ciliary body, which is a continuation of the choroid. Appreciate the ciliary body, from which the thread-like structures are coming. These are known as zonules, and they are placing the lens at the place. Now I will tell you what happens when ciliary body contract. What will happen to the zonule and what is happening to the lens, and that will help you to understand accommodation. I hope you are understanding anatomy. I will come on accommodation. Accommodation happens in lens. So you can't understand lens directly unless until you don't understand the attachment of the lens. So lens is attached to zonule and zonule is attached to the ciliary body. Give me a thumbs up if you are getting it. So this zonule is a very important. The zonule. These are the fibers, the thread-like fibers, which are coming from the ciliary body. Okay, and they hold the lens. They hold the lens in place. They provide attachment to the lens. Okay, they provide attachment. Now use your common sense. When zonules are tight and when zonules are relaxed, what's going to happen to the lens? Can you use, I will show you a video also. I will show you 3D model also. But first you use your common sense. So appreciate this is lens. Okay, this is lens. Appreciate the boundary of the lens. Everyone. Now see the threads. Can you see the threads? Now imagine two things. These threads, they are contracting. They are contracting. So they will, pull the lens this side and this side. So lens become flat. Lens become flattened. The lens become flattened. ऐसे खींचेंगे दोनों तरफ से from both the poles, north pole, south pole. So lens become flat. But when they relax, these zonules they relax. These zonules they relax. So they are not pulling. They are not pulling. They are pushing the lens like this. So lens become more thick. The lens become thickened. It become convex. That's accommodation, people. If you want to understand accommodation, you have to understand these zonules. You have to understand these two lines. When zonules contract, what's happened? When zonule relax, what's happened? When zonules are contracting, the lens flatten. Okay, and when zonules relax, the lens convex. The lens become more thick. The opposite of flattening. Are you understanding what I am saying? Are you understanding? You can appreciate it here. Can you see these are the zonules? These are the zonules. People, appreciate the zonules over here. These are the zonules. These are the zonules. Okay, appreciate they are holding the lens. Now appreciate what happens when they contract. Appreciate what happens when they relax. Okay, and these zonules are attached to the ciliary body, above and below. This is ciliary body. I hope you are getting it. Now see the two conditions I am talking about. Now you can have a vision. I have shown you two eyes over here. In the two eyes, in both the eyes, first you appreciate where is choroid. This is choroid. Okay, and this is ciliary muscle coming out of the choroid. Ciliary muscle. Okay, this is choroid. This is ciliary muscle. This is ciliary body, ciliary muscle coming out of the choroid. Okay, I am interested in the zonules which are attached to the ciliary muscle. Here zonules are tight. The zonules are tight. Here the zonules are tight. And here zonules are relaxed. Here zonules are relaxed. Here zonules are relaxed. When zonules are tight, they pull. They pull the lens. I mean, they pull the lens both the side. So lens become flat. Lens is flattened, chapta ho gaya. And when zonules are relaxed, they instead of pulling, they push. They push. You understand the difference between pull and push. So here they are pulling the lens. Here they are pushing the lens. So here lens become thickened because they are pushing it. Okay, pulling, pushing. Okay, you can see. Suppose this is lens. Okay, it's a ping pong ball, the smiley ball, the ping pong. And these are the zonules. Okay, I am having only one thread, but imagine multiple zonules. Multiple zonules are there. You can imagine. So you imagine when they are tightened. Okay, I cannot stretch it. It will tie. I mean, it will turn. So when they tighten, I mean, if I pull it, so this will become flattened. And when I relax it, when I relax these, so this will become thickened. How many of you got it? So that's the accommodation if you are getting it. Okay. And what's iris? Iris is the continuation of ciliary body. So see, I taught you three things in the middle layer. In the middle layer, first of all, there is choroid. You can appreciate this is choroid. Choroid. The continuation of choroid is ciliary body. And the continuation of ciliary body is iris. Okay. And you have to imagine in 3D. I mean, it's a curtain. It's a complete curtain. I will show you in the model. And the innermost layer is retina. Currently, I'm not interested in retina. The innermost layer is retina. It's neurosensory and it contains rods, cones. I will teach you retina chapter separately, the innermost layer. Okay, if you have this understanding, I would like to show you the same in the model and I would like to start the chapter accommodation. Just a second. I guess you can see this one. See this model. Okay, I guess you all can see this model. Yes. So in this model, you can see these are the eyelids. I taught you conjunctiva in that. The eyeball is like a sphere. You can appreciate the sphere over there. This is the optic nerve, okay, leaving the eyeball. Okay, now this is the outermost layer I'm talking about. The outermost layer is protective. It's fibrous in nature. I'm visible with the model, no? Yes. The outermost layer is protective. It's fibrous in nature. This complete blue thing, can you see? This is sclera. And this transparent thing is cornea. So sclera and cornea. These are the eyelids. Eyelids. I'm having the eyelids. Forget it. Forget it. I'm removing that. Wait. These are stickers. I can remove that. Okay. So eyelids I have removed. I have removed eyelids just so that you can have a division. Now you see the outermost layer is sclera. Okay. And this layer is cornea. So sclera and cornea constitute the outermost layer. Now I will open it to show you the middle layer. So I'm opening it to show you the middle layer. The middle layer is choroid. So choroid is middle layer. You can see this black color. Okay, the outermost blue is the sclera. The middle one is the choroid. Okay, the middle one is the choroid, and the continuation of the choroid is ciliary body. You can see this black just below to the blue one. Don't see the yellow one. There are three colors are shown. I don't know whether you can appreciate or not. The blue one is the sclera. The black one is the choroid, and the innermost yellow one is the retina. I'm not interested in blue, the outer one. I'm not interested in the yellow, the retina. I'm interested in the middle one, the choroid. And you can see the continuation of the choroid is the ciliary body. You can see it is having the ciliary muscle over here. It's like this. Okay. And the continuation of the ciliary muscle is the iris. This is the iris. The iris is like a curtain with a hole at the center. This hole at the center is known as pupil. This hole at the center is known as pupil. So this is the anatomy, the basic anatomy. And that's such accommodation I will show you. So let me share my screen again and let's move on the topic. Okay, chalo. So let's move on the topic. So let's move ahead. Now, if you understood the three layers of the eyeball, let me come on the dioptric power. What is power of the lens? How to calculate power? You have studied physics. I guess everyone has studied physics in your school time. In the physics, we know the formula of the power. The formula of the power, dioptric power, it is known as D is equal to 1 upon F. That is, it is 1 upon focal length. 1 upon the reciprocal of the focal length. The reciprocal of the focal length is the power. I guess everyone know. D is the power measured in diopter. Diopter is the unit of the power and F is focal length. Can you see? So D is equal to 1 upon F. You should know this formula. Okay, so what is F? Suppose the object is at infinity. So here the F is infinity. Okay, so here the power is 1 upon infinity. 1 upon infinity is equal to 0. So here power is 0. Okay, and suppose the object is a near object placed at 25 centimeters. Suppose this is the object placed at nearly 25 centimeters from my eye. So here focal length is 25. So here power is 1 by 25. 1 by 25, whatever is the answer. 1 by 25 centimeter. It should be in meter. Okay, I'm saying 25 centimeter. If I convert into meter, it is 100 upon 25. So it will be 4 diopter. So 0 diopter, 4 diopter. This is how we calculate power. So this is the formula of the power. You should be aware to understand accommodation. Now let's start the topic accommodation. You people are ready to fly. Okay, you have understood the basics, the foundation, and now we will start the topic accommodation. What is accommodation? You understand accommodation, then I will come on the errors of accommodation. What is accommodation? In accommodation, parallel rays of light coming from normally in emmetropic eye. If the eye is emmetropic, when the parallel rays of light coming from infinity, you can see parallel rays of light coming from infinity, they automatically focus on the retina. They automatically focus on the retina. Okay, God has made the eye like this only. It is on the retina, neither ahead of it nor beyond it. It is on the retina. Appreciate retina. This is retina. So it is on the retina. Here accommodation is 0. Here there is no accommodation. Okay, suppose this is my object. Okay, suppose this is at infinity. Can you see the span? This is at infinity. What I'm saying, let me change my screen. I'm saying this is my object. It is at infinity, far away, far away. Okay, so light is coming from this object to my eye, and in my eye, imagine the retina. Imagine the retina. So the image of this object, which is at infinity, the image is formed on the retina. Imagine my this eye, right eye. So this is the retina. Okay, so image of this object, which is at infinity, the parallel rays are coming and image is formed on the retina. Now, what if I'm moving the object near? So will the image will shift beyond the retina? No. Image is still on the retina, So whether the object is at infinity, the image is automatically on retina. God has made eye like that only. It's emmetropia. But when we are shifting the object from infinity towards the eye, towards, I can still see this pan. I can still see, still. Every time the image is forming on the retina only. Say, ma'am, how it is possible? When the rays are coming from infinity, it is on the retina. But when you move the object closer, the image should shift beyond the retina. It should shift. But it don't happen because human eye have a tendency of accommodation. We can change the power. We can change the power of convergence. Okay, so when the object is at infinity, there is no convergence. Automatically, without any effort, the image already at the retina. I don't have pen. Suppose it is a point. Imagine a point on my hand. It is retina. A point on the retina. Suppose a red point I am drawing. So this is retina. So the image is formed on this point on the retina. But when I am shifting it ahead, my eyeball power become increasing. Keep on increasing depending how close the object is coming. Object is keep on coming closer. The power of the eye keep on increasing. It keep on more converging, and still the image is on the retina, and that's the accommodation. I hope I am able to explain you. Say, people, say. Are you people there? Huh? Can we move ahead? Yes. So that's accommodation. So normally in emmetropic eye, when the object is at infinity, we don't need any accommodation. Okay, the focus is automatically on retina without accommodation. The focus is on the retina, but in accommodation, it is the ability of the eye to keep on increasing the power. As the object come closer, eye increase its power of convergence. It keep on converging, okay, by reducing the radius of curvature of the lens, okay, and still the image is on the retina. Can you see here? I want to say, if the object is at infinity, the image is on retina. वो तो है ही, वो तो भगवान ने ही ऐसा बनाया है. The God has made like that. But if the object is not at infinity, object is moving closer. Suppose object is here, not at infinity. So rays are coming from here. Okay, not from infinity. See, this is my object. Okay, it is a near object, not a far object. This was a far object. In near object, when we are shifting the vision from far to near, to see a near object. So here the rays are coming from near, maybe 20 centimeter, 25 centimeter, 30 centimeter, whatever is the distance. Okay, now here the rays are going. So if there is no accommodation, the image will go beyond the retina. Because where it was infinity, it was on the retina. Now you are shifting the object this side, the image will also shift this side. Normally. But this don't happen. Image is still on retina. Why? Because the great God has given us lens. And lens can increase the power. Okay, as the object keep on coming closer, lens become thicker, and it keep on increasing its power. Okay, power of convergence. What is the power? Power of convergence. When the object is at infinity, convergence is not much. It is slight convergence. It is on the retina. But when the object is moving closer, it is increasing its convergence power, and image is still on retina, and that's the accommodation. So read the definition of accommodation. I hope you are getting it. Okay, most of the students don't understand accommodation. They directly move on the disorders. In the books, directly disorders is given. Okay, so first you have to understand what is accommodation. Then you will be able to understand the disorders are very small. Okay, so accommodation is the ability of human eye. Human eye has the ability of the human eye to increase the power of the lens. We can increase the power of our lens when we shift the vision from far to near. So this is far vision. Okay, if I'm shifting the far vision to near vision, you see this object. It is coming closer to my eyes. Initially it was at infinity. Now it's coming closer to my eyes. So my eyes lens become thicker. Its refractive power increase, and image is still on retina. So whether the object is at infinity or object is near, image is always on retina in an emmetropic eye. If accommodation is working properly, you can see object is at infinity or object is near. In both the cases, where is the image? The image is on. I insist you to learn the word on retina. Here also see this red dot. The image is on retina. Whether the object is at infinity or whether the object is near. See this pan. It is at infinity. Image is on my retina. It is near, image is still on my retina. Say, ma'am, how it is possible? So you can see the lens, appreciate the thickness of the lens here, and appreciate the thickness of the lens here. Appreciate the lens. Can you see the lens? See, here lens is more or less flattened, and here it got thickened. Here it got thickened. So by changing its radius of curvature, the lens is changing its power. So basically, I told you a formula in my last session. Radius of curvature is inversely proportional to power. Inversely proportional to power. You're getting it. So the lens is reducing radius of curvature and increasing the power. Can you see the two diagram? See, in the first diagram, the lens is flattened like this when the object is at infinity. When the object coming closer, the lens become like this. Lens become thicker. Lens become convex. This is known as flat lens and this is known as convex lens. Okay, when the object is far, the lens is like this. When the object is near, the lens become like this with the help of zonules. I will tell you how it becomes with the help of zonules. So this happens. So basically, you try to make a circle of that and make a circle of this. Okay, you tell me which radius. So this is the center of the circle. This is the center of the circle. So this is radius of curvature of this lens. And this is radius of curvature of this lens. Okay, so you can see here I have drawn a wrong circle. I guess it should be like this. Okay, just a second. It should be like this. Okay, you appreciate radius of curvature of both of them. Can you see the radius of curvature of both the lens? Huh? So which one is having more radius of curvature? So here radius of curvature is high and here radius of curvature is low. Radius of curvature is low. I'm trying to explain you. No one will teach you these concepts. Okay, so when lens is flat, R is high and power is less because R and P are inversely proportional. And when lens is convex, okay, so R is low, so power is high. Okay, because R and P are inversely proportional and this is what happening in accommodation. The same thing is shown to you here. The same thing is shown to you here. Appreciate the thickness of the lens here. Appreciate it's flat when the object is at infinity. Appreciate the thickness of the lens over here. Appreciate it become convex when the object is near. When the object is near. Appreciate. So here radius of curvature is high and power is low. Here radius of curvature is decreasing and the power is increasing. People say, respond. You are getting it. What is accommodation? This is what's shown in this video. Can you see this video? Please appreciate this video. So what we are basically doing, we are shifting the vision from far to near. See the green object which is shifting from far to near. Initially this object is far and later on the same object is coming closer and coming near. So we are shifting the vision from far to near. Okay, at that time, see, don't focus here on the object, focus on the thickness of the lens. In this image, in this video, focus on the thickness of the lens. So can you see the thickness of the lens? Appreciate this area of the video. Appreciate the thickness of the lens. Appreciate when the object is far, the lens is flat. And appreciate when the object is coming closer, the lens is becoming thicker. So that's what accommodation actually means. How many of you got it? This is the best video I can give you on accommodation. Appreciate the change in thickness of the lens. Okay, so during accommodation, when the vision changes from far to near, okay, so what is accommodation? We can say accommodation. Let's define accommodation. Accommodation in human eye is a physiological phenomenon. It occurs when we shift the vision from far to near. Okay, I'm looking at a mountain. Suddenly you come in front of me. So instead of mountain, I'm looking at you. So I'm shifting the vision from far to near. I'm looking this Almira in front of me. It's far away. Okay, but I'm looking at this pan. So Almira, pan. Almira, pan. So I'm shifting the vision from far to near. So this happens many times in our day, no? So we look at a far thing. I'm looking at the camera. It's quite far. Okay, and I'm looking at this pan. It close. So far, near. I'm shifting the vision from far to near. When we shift the vision from far to near, actually what happens? We want the image to form on the retina. We want to form image on the retina. For emmetropia, here also image should be on the retina. It is God given. But here also we want on the retina. For that we have to do certain changes in the lens. So here lens is flat like this. Here lens become thicker like this. Now if you make a complete circle, you will realize here radius of curvature is high and that's why power is low. And here radius of curvature is low, so power is high. So basically accommodation is increase in power of the lens by reducing its radius of curvature. That is the definition of accommodation. This is the best way I can explain you what is accommodation. So say the definition of accommodation. Accommodation occurs in human eye. It's a physiological phenomenon when we shift the vision from far to near. That Almira, that pan. So I'm looking the Almira, I'm looking the pan. I'm looking, look at my eyes. I'm looking the Almira, I'm looking pan. I'm looking the Almira, I'm looking pan. I'm looking the like that. So I'm shifting the vision from far to near. Okay, at that time, the lens, when the image is object is at far, the lens is flat. When the object is closer, okay, the lens become convex. So accommodation is increase in power of lens by reducing its radius of curvature. Say increase in power of lens by reducing its radius of curvature. So same thing is shown in this video. Okay, you can see. So increase in power of lens by reducing its radius of curvature or making it thick or making it convex. So what is accommodation? We are increasing the power of the lens by decreasing its radius of curvature. This is the definition of accommodation. You have to write this definition in your exam. Okay, the rest, everything for your understanding. You don't have to write all that stuff. This is the main thing you have to write. What is accommodation? When we shift the vision from far to near, there is increase in power of the lens. How? By reducing the radius of the curvature. And this is known as accommodation. This is known as accommodation. So tell me normal radius of curvature of the lens and how much it changes during accommodation. So radius of curvature of the anterior surface is different and posterior surface is different. See, the lens is not exactly biconvex like this. We imagine the human lens like this. It's exactly biconvex. No, it's not like that. It's like this. Appreciate the anterior surface, appreciate the posterior surface. Can you appreciate the anterior surface? The anterior surface is relatively flat. It's normal lens. Normal lens is like this. And this is the posterior surface. It's like this. Can you appreciate? So anterior surface is having 10 millimeter, radius of curvature 10 millimeter, and posterior surface radius of curvature 6 millimeter. You can make the circles to understand. This is more flatter, no? So this one is having 10 millimeter, and this one is having 6 millimeter, like that. Okay, so 10 millimeter and 6 millimeter, the radius of curvature of anterior and posterior, this is at rest. When there is no accommodation, when we are looking at a far object, this is normal. But during accommodation, okay, now what is the radius of curvature? Anterior surface ka 10 millimeter and posterior surface ka 6 millimeter. This is normal. This is normal. This was at rest. This was at rest. But what happened during accommodation? If I'm changing the vision from far to near, what is happening? What is happening? The lens become more convex. Here the lens was flat. Okay, so these are the radius of curvature. Now here the lens become more convex. It become more thick, more convex. Okay, so posterior it's still 6. Posterior don't change much. It change little bit, not negligible, not significant. But anterior changes from 10 to 6. Anterior changes from 10 to 6. This is what I want to show you here. People, please understand. So this is far vision. This is near vision. At far vision, the radius of curvature of anterior surface is 10. Okay, and posterior surface is 6 millimeter. Okay, during near vision, lens is becoming convex. So anterior surface shift from 10 to 6. Posterior is still 6. This is what I want to explain you. How many of you got it? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. I'm taking efforts to explain you. People, show some interest. You got it? So this is how I'm saying the radius of curvature is reducing. Radius of curvature reduces from 10 mm to 6 mm. The radius of curvature is reducing, and that's why power is increasing. Power will increase because power is inversely proportional to radius of curvature. You got my point. Power is inversely proportional. So radius of curvature is reducing. You should say objectively, ma'am, how much it is reducing. How much it is reducing. So you can see from 10 mm to 6 mm. The anterior one. The posterior is same. It was 6. It is still 6 during accommodation. So this is what you can understand. The same thing is shown to you. You can appreciate the shape of the lens over here, and you can appreciate the shape of the lens over here. Appreciate the shape, you yourself will realize the difference. So that is the catch you have to take in consideration in accommodation. You have to see the shape of the lens in both the condition. Far vision, near vision. Far vision, near vision. This is what you have to say. Here also images forming on my retinas. Here also images forming on my retinas because my eyes, my lens can change its shape. It's the property given by, unique property given by the God in our lens. Our lens is like elastic, ping pong ball. Have you seen the ping pong ball, smiley wala ball? They can be compressed and they can be stretched. It's not rigid. It's like ping pong ball. Got my point? So that is the reason. That is the reason. So you can see here, anterior diameter is 10 millimeter. Posterior radius of curvature is 6 millimeter. During accommodation, anterior changes to 6 millimeter, posterior is still 6. So during accommodation, it's spherical. It's almost like a circle or spherical during accommodation. So same thing. I want you to focus on this area of the video. I want you to focus the change in the shape of the lens during accommodation when object is shifting from far to near. When object is shifting from far to near, appreciate this change in this video. You will realize this is accommodation. The same video. Appreciate this portion of the video. Appreciate this portion of the video. Appreciate the change in shape when the object is far and when the object is near. Appreciate how the lens became thicker, its radius of curvature reduced, and its power increased. This is accommodation. So the great God have given a tendency in our lens that can change its shape. Okay, it's like a ping pong ball. So this is accommodation. Now coming on the mechanism of accommodation. After that I will start the disorders of accommodation. Mechanism of accommodation, you tell me, when the eye is at rest. Okay, two flowcharts I will tell you. When the eye is at rest, I mean the object is far. And when the eye is looking a near object. Two flowcharts we will see. You tell me what, when the eye is at, how it is changing. How it is changing. Now come on the ciliary muscle and zonules. Okay, how it is changing. You see, this is changing the shape with the help of ciliary muscles and zonule. You have to understand the funda, how ciliary muscles and zonule are changing its shape. It is changing its shape. It is reducing its radius of curvature. It is increasing its power. वो तो समझ में आ गया, लेकिन कैसे? How? So that we have to understand in the pathogenesis. So first you see at rest. At rest, what is happening? Whenever the eye is at rest, there is relaxation of the ciliary muscle. Appreciate the first diagram. Don't see the second. Appreciate the first diagram. You can understand this diagram. Appreciate the ciliary muscle. It is relaxed. It is relaxed. Now please understand one funda. When the ciliary muscle is relaxed, the zonules are tight. Okay, they are reverse. And when the ciliary muscle contract, when the ciliary muscle contract, the zonules relax. The zonules relax. Can you see the two things? Zonules are attached to ciliary muscle. Okay, so when ciliary muscle relax, the zonules are tight. The zonules are tight. Okay, I will show you in the model. It's not very clear in the model actually. I will try to show you in this video only. Actually, you can see this is the ciliary muscle. This is the side view I'm showing. No, this is the side view. What about the front view? If we look from here, how the ciliary muscle will look. This is ciliary muscle. You are looking from the side view. From the front, it's like a circle. The ciliary muscle is the circle. It is known as ciliary ring. From the side view, it is not. You imagine कि ma'am there are two ciliary muscle, one above, one below. No, दो नहीं है. It's a circle. You see from the front, it's like a sphere. You are getting it. So this is the ciliary muscle. This is the ciliary muscle. Can you see? It's like a ring from the front. This is the front view. Again, see this diagram, not this. See the first diagram. You are getting my point. So this diagram is the side view. You can see this is ciliary muscle. This is ciliary. If I see the same from the front view, it's like a ring. The ciliary muscle is like a ring. So imagine when the ciliary muscle is relaxed. When the ciliary muscle is relaxed. See, it is relaxed. It is relaxed. So the ring is big. It is relaxed now. So zonules are tight. Zonule. This is lens. This is lens at the center. The zonules are holding the lens. You can appreciate this is lens. This is lens. The zonules are holding. So when the ciliary muscle relax, the zonules, this ring is large. So zonules are tight. The zonules are tight. Since the zonules are tight, they are pulling the lens and the lens is flat. They are keeping the lens flat. They are keeping the lens flat. Appreciate the lens is flattened here. The lens is flattened. Now appreciate the reverse. Okay. When there is accommodation, the ciliary muscle contract. Now appreciate, here ciliary muscle is relaxed, here ciliary muscle is contracting. Okay, so here when the ciliary muscle contract, the ring becomes small. The ring becomes small. Okay, the ring becomes small. The ring diameter reduces. If the ring becomes small, the zonule become loose. The zonule become loose. So the zonules tension reduces. Zonule become loose. If the zonule become loose, okay, they are not putting pressure on the lens and the lens become more convex. Okay, the elastic lens deform, it become more convex. I mean, its radius of curvature reduces and its power increases, and that's accommodation. How many of you got it? How many of you got that these two diagram and these two diagram is the front view of these two only. You are getting my point. This is the side view. Side view at rest, side view at accommodation. This is the front view at rest and front view at accommodation. You are getting my point. So you can draw the two flowcharts very well. What happens during rest and what happens during accommodation. During rest, ciliary muscle relax. Okay, during accommodation, ciliary muscle contract. Okay, ciliary muscle is like a ring. It's like a ring from the front. Okay, so what happens to ciliary ring? What happens to ciliary ring? If ciliary muscle is relaxing, the ring is large. Okay, and ciliary muscle is contracting, the ring becomes small. The ring becomes small. Now you imagine what happens to zonules here and here. Here the ring is large, no? So zonules are tense. Here the ring is small. So zonules become luch-puch. I mean, it becomes loose. They become loose. Okay, now what happens to lens? You tell me. Zonules, here zonules are tense. So they are stretching the lens. Lens become flat. Lens become flat because the zonules are very tense. Very tense. Here, what happens to lens? ये lens become more convex because zonules are relaxed. Zonules are relaxed, so lens become more convex. Now what happens? What happens to power? What happens to radius of curvature and power? The main is radius. So here, because the lens is flat, so radius of curvature is high, so power is low. Here the lens is convex, so radius of curvature is reducing and power is increasing. So this is the gist, people. Please learn, understand whatever you want to do. This is the summary I can tell you. What is happening during accommodation? So compare ciliary muscle, compare ciliary ring, compare zonule, compare lens. Lens may compare the radius of curvature and power. The same thing is shown to you in this diagram. The same thing is shown to you. The same thing we are trying to show you in this video. What is happening in this video? People say, got it? Huh? What you are saying? सौम्या, ciliary muscle zonule से connect है और muscle contract हुई तो वो भी contract होगा. Soumya, the muscle is like a ring. See, you are getting confused. See, Soumya, this is the muscle. This is muscle. The muscle is contracting. Soumya, appreciate the muscle. See, तुम्हारा confusion clear करें. Soumya, this is for you. So this is ciliary muscle. It's like a ring. You don't imagine ciliary muscle like this and this. You imagine front view. It is like a ring actually from the front. From the front. So this is the ciliary ring. So what happens? It is contracting. You tell me. It is contracting means it is reducing in diameter. Whenever any muscle contract, it reduces in diameter. No? So it is reducing. So you are right that zonules are attached. Zonules are attached to ciliary muscle. You are saying when ciliary muscle contract हो रहा है तो why zonules are not contracting? Okay, when ciliary muscle is contracting, the zonules are tight. Zonules don't contract or relax. They are just thread. Either they tight or they loose. So when ciliary muscle contract, the ring is big, and that's why the zonules are tight. The zonules are tight. When ciliary muscle, this is when ciliary muscle relax. So zonules are tight. When ciliary muscle contract, the ring reduces in size, and that's why the zonule loose. Zonule is not a muscle, Soumya. They cannot contract and relax. They are just threads. Okay, I mean they can tight or loose. So imagine this is the lens. Okay, these are the zonules. Let's try. Just a second. What happened? Am I still visible? No? Yes. So imagine this is the lens and these are the zonules. Okay. These are the zonules which are attached to the ciliary muscle. I don't have a ciliary muscle to show you over here. I don't have it. I'm sorry. So imagine if the ciliary muscle ring is large. So it will tighten the zonules na, and it will flatten the lens. If the zonules are tightened, if I stretch from both the sides, so it will flatten. But if the muscle contract, imagine the circular muscle. Imagine the circular muscle. It is contracting. So it is contracting. So ring become narrow. So these become loose. They become loose like this. They become loose like this. You know, so lens become thickened like this. I hope you got it this time. Okay, so can we proceed? So if you got all this, we are ready to start the errors, no? Sure. Let's see. Okay, so yes. So zonules are not muscle. They don't contract and relax. Okay, so same thing is shown to you in various videos, whatever you understand. I want you to focus on the thickness of the lens. Appreciate the thickness of the lens, which is changing from far to near vision. Appreciate the thickness of the lens, which is changing when the vision is changed from far to near. Appreciate this change, a little bit change. That's accommodation. So the great God has given the property to the human lens that can change the thickness. Appreciate it is attached to the zonules like this, and appreciate the ciliary muscle which is contracting and relaxing when we change the vision from far to near, far to near. This is what's happening in my eye. So very easily I change the vision from far to near, from far to near. So actually this is happening in the eye actually at ground level. Okay, now the last thing you have to understand, what is near point, what is far point before I come on the disorders. Okay, what is far point? Far point is the most distant point from the eye. The object can be placed and its image can be focused on the retina. The most distant point. सबसे दूर का क्या देख सकते हो तुम clearly? I can see sky, I can see stars, I can see moon. So far point is infinity for a healthy human. For a healthy human, the far point is infinity. Okay, so can I say it is the point, it is situated maximum relaxation of the ciliary muscle. When the ciliary muscles are maximally relaxed, so this is the far point. The ciliary muscles are maximally relaxed. So this is far point. And usually for a healthy eye, it's infinity. Because I can see sky, stars, moon, they are at infinity. So the farthest point human eye can see and its image can be formed on retina, not beyond retina. It is on the retina. Thus, that farthest point that can be seen clearly by human eye, it is the far point for human eye. And for a healthy eye, it's infinity. For a healthy eye. So at this point, the ciliary muscles are maximally relaxed. Maximally relaxed. This is the far point. What is near point? Near point is the closest distance. Suppose this is a pan. I can see. It is at infinity for me currently. It is at par. Par means infinity. Now I'm bringing it closer, closer, closer. I'm just focusing on the pan, not on the camera. So my eye contact will be not with you. So see, this is the pan. I'm focusing the pan. I'm bringing it closer. I still can see, still can see, still can see. But from here now, I guess diplopia is occurring. I can see two images. I can see a blur image. So I guess this is the point. I can see it clearly. But if I'm bringing it more close now, so image is not clear. You can do the experiment on yourself. Take any object and bring it from infinity, bring it closer, 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 closer. So nearly up to 25 centimeter, you will see it clearly. But near 25, you will see the blur image. Do it now. You can do it. The image will be blur or diplopic. So I can't see. I can see a blur image. But here, I guess this is the point. I can see perfect image. Okay, and beyond this, no, it's not perfect. So this is the closest distance. Okay, closest distance from my eye on which I can see an object clearly and its image is focused on the retina. So here the image is on retina, here also 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 retina. But beyond this, the image is beyond retina and that's why it's blurred. So I will again keep it back and this is the closest point on which the image is on my retina. So this is my near point. So I can say with the help of accommodation, this is the maximum ciliary muscles can contract at this point. Beyond this, there is no ability the ciliary muscles can contract. That's why the image is blur. So this is the near point at which the ciliary muscles are maximally contract and image is still formed on the retina. So for a human eye, healthy eye, the far point is at infinity, but near point varies with age. The near point, I don't know your age, but I'm coming, I guess, in this range. So my near point is nearly 25, nearly 15 to 25, somewhat in between. Okay, so it depends on the age. At 10 year of age, the near point is 7. Children can see till here, they see clear, but 7 centimeter, I guess this is 7 centimeter. This is my eye. Approximately this is 7 centimeter, but no, I see a blur image. No. Okay, but at 20 years, it is 10 centimeter. At 20 years, this distance increases to 10 centimeter. And at 30 or 40, it increases to 25. So 25 is the ideal, in a middle age, in young or middle age, at 25 centimeter is the near point. So the closest distance I can see this image clearly is 25. I can't see it at 10, I can't see it at 7, I can see at 25 centimeter. So for me, the near point is 25, it varies with age. So whatever is your age, you can see your near point if you are emetropic. If you are emetropic, you can appreciate. And with increasing age, when I become 50, when I become 60, this will increase. Ask your parents, what is the closest distance they can see this pan clearly. And you can measure this distance. See, this is infinity. You can see this is infinity. Okay, here I can see, you can't see my pen. This is infinity. I'm bringing it closer, 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 closer. I can see. No, it's blurred. I can see. Now it's blurred. So this distance from my eye, I'm asking you to measure with the help of a scale. Okay, from the surface of my cornea till this pan. Because just beyond this, if I'm bringing it closer, it's blurred. At this point, it's clear, but beyond it is blurred. So this distance is the near point for my eye, depending on my age. So this is how we calculate the near point. It varies with age. For me, it's 25. I know that for me, it's 25. So far point and near point. This is how we calculate far point and near point. So can I say what is far point? Far point is the point at which ciliary muscles are maximally relaxed. And near point is the point at which ciliary muscles are maximally contract. So this is the farthest point the human eye can see clearly. Farthest point. And this is the nearest, closest point the human eye can see clearly. This is how we do it. Okay. What happens in hypermetropia and myopia? I taught you hypermetropia and myopia, no? You tell me what happens. In hypermetropia, the far point is beyond retina. And in myopia, the far point is in front of retina. I told you, no? I guess you have attended my previous sessions. Yes or no? You see emetropic eye. Can you see the emetropic eye over here? Just a second. When the rays are coming from infinity, okay, in an emetropia, the image is on the retina. First, you focus retina in the 3 diagram. Where is retina? Appreciate retina. So this is retina, this is retina, this is retina. So when here the far point, the farthest point here is infinity and the image is on retina. But in hypermetropia, the far point is beyond retina. Okay, beyond retina. And in myopia, the far point is in front of retina. So here far point is virtual, it's beyond retina, and here far point is real, it is in front of retina. So same thing is written. You get MCQs on that. I guess you can understand it. Now 2 more things I would like to explain before I come on the disorder: the range of accommodation and amplitude of accommodation. What is range of accommodation? What is the amplitude of accommodation? Range of accommodation is very simple. It is the difference between near point and far point. Whatever is your near point, my far point is infinity. My near point is 25. So infinity minus 25. Whatever is the answer, that is my range of accommodation. So basically infinity minus 25 is infinity only. So my range of accommodation is infinity. Okay, I can accommodate my eyes to any level because I am emmetropic. And you know, some people here, far point is not infinity. In myopia or hypermetropia, it will be in some centimeters. Maybe it is 100, 200. So 100 minus 25, that will be the range of accommodation. Range of accommodation, how much you can accommodate your eye. It is the difference between far point and near point. Okay, so that is, suppose this is the far point and this is the near point. So you deduce near point from the far point. So whatever is the remaining thing is the range of accommodation. It is the subtraction of far minus near. Okay, subtraction or deduction. That is range of accommodation. Now, range of accommodation is easy to understand. We are deducing the difference. Far point minus near point in meters. Preferably in meters you do so. Okay, what is the amplitude? You do the reciprocal. 1 upon far point minus 1 upon near point. I mean the power. 1 upon far point will be the power here. 1 upon near point will be the power here. That is the amplitude of accommodation. I hope you got it, what I said. So amplitude of accommodation is the difference. Again, difference. Not between far point and near point. The power of far point and near point. You got my point? What I'm saying. So what is the range of accommodation and what is the amplitude of accommodation? What we are doing here? The range of accommodation is far point minus near point. In meters. In meters. In meters. Here you take the reciprocal. For calculating amplitude of accommodation, you take the reciprocal of far point. And you take the reciprocal of near point. Okay. In meters. In meters. Okay. And that will be the amplitude of accommodation, because the reciprocal of this is the power of power at which far point is visible. This is the power at which near point is visible. So it is the differences in power. Differences in power is amplitude of accommodation. I hope you got it. So this is amplitude of accommodation. It is the difference. Again, difference. But difference between power needed to focus near point and needed to focus far point. Okay. Got it? What I said. So you can see the power of the lens is changing now. See, the thickness of the lens is changing. I appreciate. Lekin thickness is ज़्यादा important than power. So what is happening during far vision? What is happening during near vision? You tell me. Far vision में radius of curvature is more. Radius of curvature is more. Okay, and power is less. Here radius of curvature decreases, but power increases. Okay, so this is what happening. So difference in power from far to near is amplitude of accommodation. How many of you got it? So you know how we calculate power. It's 1 upon f, no? So that's why I said 1 upon infinity. So if I calculate the amplitude of accommodation at 10 years of age, at 10 years of age, the near point is 7. Okay, and the far point is always infinity. Far point is infinity at all age. Far point is always infinity. Okay, near point changes with age. But far point don't change with age. It's always infinity for a emmetropic eye. We are talking about emmetropic eye. Yes. So at 10 years of age, do 1 upon 7 and 1 upon infinity. So how you calculate the amplitude? You calculate the amplitude is 1 upon 7. You calculate for the near point, for the far point, it's 1 upon infinity. Okay. Minus 1 upon near point. It's 1 upon 7. You know, 1 upon 7. So 1 upon infinity is 0. 1 upon anything upon infinity is 0. So 1 upon 7, but 7 is in centimeter. We have to convert into meter. We have to convert. So it is 100 upon 7. And 100 upon 7 will be answer 40. I hope you got it. Okay, I hope you got it. You are getting my point? Yes. So, and if I want to calculate my amplitude, okay, I'm 40 years, suppose. Okay. So my amplitude of accommodation, how to calculate? Okay, my far point is infinity. My near point is 25. So 1 upon 25 minus 1 upon infinity. But 1 upon 25 is in centimeter. I have to convert into meter. So it will be 100 upon 25 minus 1 upon infinity. 1 upon infinity is 0 and 100 upon 25 is 4 diopter. So my amplitude of accommodation is 4 diopter. This is how we calculate. So you calculate the power for near point. You calculate the power for far point. Okay, 1 upon near point, 1 upon far point. 1 upon near point is 25. 25 centimeter. If you convert into meter, it's 100 upon 25. 1 upon infinity. And if you reduce it, 1 upon 25 minus 1 upon infinity, it is 4 diopter. People say yes, no, but respond. So this is how we calculate.